Chapter 1426. The injuries on Zhou Xian's body and soul had faded, and the sacred source life form, the absolute love poppy, had also recovered. Zhou Xian was now at her peak. However, the dirt and blood scabs still remained on her body. Zhou Xian's injuries were being healed by the vitality energy. The infected cells would die quickly and eventually turn into thick water and be discharged from the body. This caused Zhou Xian's body to be sticky, as if her clothes were stuck to her body. In addition, these filthy things emitted an unpleasant smell. Zhou Xian could not help but frown. Zhou Xian moved her body uncomfortably and subconsciously took a few steps back, putting some distance between her and Lin Yuan. It was as if she was afraid that Lin Yuan would smell the smell on her body. Lin Yuan raised his eyebrows and said, "The most important thing for you now is to take a bath and clean up your body. Right now the most urgent thing for you is to take a shower and clean up your body. Let's go to the main city area and find Central Tree Castle. You can also help these two little fellows clean up. When you're done we'll have a good talk." Zhou Xian hurriedly nodded. Zhou Xian's loyalty oath to Lin Yuan was because she recognized reality. She chose the most advantageous way to deal with it in the future. It was not because Zhou Xian's self-esteem had been washed away during this period of struggling to survive in the Divine Wood Federation. If Zhou Xian was here covered in filth and had a face-to-face conversation with Lin Yuan, Zhou Xian was a little embarrassed. Lin Yuan was able to find out what she was thinking through some small actions. His act of taking the initiative to think for her warmed Zhou Xian's heart. It might not be an unbearable thing to work under such a person. Just as Zhou Xian was about to thank him, a squeaking sound came. A small mouse less than the size of a palm came out of the pile of fallen leaves not far from Zhou Xian and came to a broken branch. It looked around with a very vigilant expression. After confirming that Lin Yuan and the others were far enough away, the mouse lifted the broken branch that it had just picked up. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up when he saw this mouse. This mouse looked exactly the same as the flowery branch mouse that Lin Yuan had encountered when he had first come to the Divine Wood Federation. The amber button-shaped source sand fell from Lin Yuan's sleeve and burrowed into the ground. Then the gravel formed a silk thread and wrapped the flower branch rat tightly. Lin Yuan brought the flower branch rat in front of him and looked at its panicked appearance. Lin Yuan circulated his spiritual power, and an undetectable trace of spirit qi appeared in his palm to appease the panicking flower branch rat. This pure spiritual qi caused the flower branch rat to quickly calm down. Even if Lin Yuan got the source sand to remove its control over the flowery branch rat, the source sand wouldn't be able to control it. The flower branch rat was still on Lin Yuan's palm and wasn't willing to leave. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry to enhance this flower branch rat. Although Zhou Xian had sworn an oath of loyalty to him and had become someone he could trust, Zhou Xian was not someone he could trust. However, there were some things that Zhou Xian did not need to know. When Zhou Xian saw that Lin Yuan was very interested in this flower branch rat, she hurriedly said, "Sir, there are many kinds of rats that are commonly seen in the abandoned city. This mouse with brown fur is a kind of mouse that likes to live alone. It usually moves alone and feeds on plant leaves and fruits. In the abandoned city, this kind of rat will not spread diseases. During the time I've been in the abandoned city, I've seen this kind of mouse at least 20 to 30 times. Zhou Xian was a little puzzled. She did not understand why Lin Yuan would be interested in this kind of mouse that was not even considered a fey. In Zhou Xian's eyes, this kind of mouse was a worthless existence. If it was really valuable, the Divine Wood Federation's native nobles would not allow this kind of mouse to spread in the abandoned city. When he heard Zhou Xian's words, Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. From the reaction of the bandit scouts, Lin Yuan had guessed that this kind of flower branch rat should be very common. He did not expect that the flower branch rat would be so rampant in the abandoned city. It was no wonder that the scout had a look of contempt when he saw this flower branch rat standing on his shoulder. However, the proliferation of flower branch rats was good news for Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan waved his hand and summoned Black, and he flew toward the direction of the main city with Lu Jia, Jifeng, Xiaohua, Xiaochao and Zhou Xian. Black's flying speed was extremely fast, and in a moment, they arrived at the side of a tree fortress in the main city. Jifeng immediately rented the entire tree fortress. The tree fortress that Lin Yuan chose was a luxurious family-style tree fortress. The entire tree fortress was not divided into layers. Inside the tree fortress there was a huge living room and next to it were several bedrooms. It was mostly used as a venue for the Divine Wood Federation's native nobles to hold banquets. When Zhou Xian entered the tree fortress, she did not even have time to drink a mouthful of water. She wanted to rush into the bathroom with Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao. At that moment, Zhou Xian was stopped by Lin Yuan. "Zhou Xian, do you have a change of clothes there? If not, I have some fabric here. You can do some simple sewing." Upon hearing that, Zhou Xian raised her wrist. Lin Yuan saw that on Zhou Xian's wrist was a golden disc the size of a coin. Lin Yuan was very familiar with the appearance of this golden disc. It was basically the same as the golden disc that he had seized in the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift in the royal capital's suburbs. However, the golden disc on Zhou Xian's wrist was much smaller than the one that Lin Yuan had seized. It was also more exquisite. At first, Lin Yuan had thought that the people of the Dark Continent had set their sights on the Radiance Federation. However, later in the Indigo Azure City's coastal area, in the upgraded Water World Dimensional Rift, Lin Yuan knew that all of this was a conspiracy of the Seventh Page War in the Tower Cannon. According to the investigation of Zhou Xian's life experience when she joined the Celestial Council, Lin Yuan knew that the Dark Seven States had been destroyed, and the Dark Continent had fallen into the hands of the Seventh Page War. This could explain why there were so many people from the Dark Continent in the upgraded Water World Dimensional Rift. The Seventh Page War's subordinates could command the Dark Continent's spirit chi professionals. It seemed that the destruction of the Dark Seven States and the fall of the Dark Continent was not as simple as the invasion of the Seventh Page War. Lin Yuan did not have any plans for the Dark Continent yet. Therefore, there was no need for Lin Yuan to tell Zhou Xian about the Tower Cannon and the Dark Continent. When Zhou Xian saw Lin Yuan's gaze on the golden disc on her wrist, she explained to him, "This is our spatial storage equipment. This is our spatial storage equipment. Can store both living and dead things. It's about the size of 4 training fields. Previously my spirit and soul were injured, so I couldn't open this spatial disc. But now I can. In this spatial disc there are many clothes that I wear every day." Upon hearing Zhou Xian's words, Lin Yuan said no more. End of this chapter. Chapter 1427. Lin Yuan picked up a red soft-skinned fruit from the fruit platter and took a bite of it. He then explained Zhou Xian's identity to Wuxia, who was full of questions. Wuxia had not joined the Heavenly Body Council, so he did not know much about Zhou Xian. In addition, most of the time he had been in the Radiance Federation, he had been going to the land of spirit suppression to let the Insect Queen control the Carcinoma Fae. He had only spent a small portion of his time in the Return from Faraway Mansion. Therefore, he and Wenyu did not have the chance to tell Wuxia about Zhou Xian's situation. Ever since Wuxia had found out that Zhou Xian had a sacred source life form, he had been wondering about her identity. In Wuxia's opinion, a person with a sacred source life form, there was no reason for her to suffer in Oak City's wasteland. There were no Class 5 creation masters in the Divine Wood Federation, and an Emperor-class expert was the Divine Wood Federation's combat power limit. Sacred source life forms were produced in Class 5 dimensional rifts. It was not easy for the Divine Wood Federation to clean up the dimensional life forms in Class 5 dimensional rifts and retrieve sacred source life forms. There should not be many sacred source life forms in the entire Divine Wood Federation. Zhou Xian's appearance in the wasteland was too strange. Moreover, Lin Yuan seemed to have known of Zhou Xian's existence and had gone straight to the wasteland. Wuxia recognized the spatial equipment on Zhou Xian's hand. It was the Dark Federation's top spatial disc. It was the Dark Federation's top spatial disc, unlike the Radiance Federation's phase storage box. After removing the spiritual imprint, others could use it at will. The Dark Federation's top spatial disc could only be opened by its contractor. Once the contractor died, the space plate would become a piece of trash. The items inside might never be taken out again. In the Dark Continent, only the true upper-class people could own such excellent space equipment with great concealment. Through this spatial disc, Wuxia could guess that Zhou Xian came from the Dark Continent. She had an extraordinary identity. Just as Wuxia was guessing Zhou Xian's identity, Lin Yuan spoke. "Big Brother Lu, Zhou Xian was previously elected by the Dark Seven States to be the current Dark Envoy. You know the situation in the Dark Continent. Zhou Xian escaped all the way to the Divine Wood Federation from there." Although Wuxia had guessed that Zhou Xian had an extraordinary background, he did not expect her to be the current Dark Envoy elected by the 7 Dark Nations. Su Yiren's identity was enough to represent the 7 dark states and sail out of the Radiance Federation. The 7 dark states were not strong individually, and they were not even comparable to the Divine Wood Federation. However, the combined strength of the 7 dark states was equivalent to the combined strength of the Deep Lush Federation, the Divine Wood Federation, and the Iron Hammer Federation. More importantly, a Class 5 Creation Master had appeared in the Dark 7 states. It was the appearance of this Class 5 Creation Master that allowed the originally independent 7 dark states to become one. The existence of Class 5 Creation Masters allowed the Dark 7 states to nurture top-notch experts. Su Yiren, who was born as a Gloom Envoy, could definitely be called a true goddess at that time. Such a heavenly genius had now become one of Lin Yuan's subordinates. Lu Jie had been a Radiance 100 sequence member for a long time and had then become a disciple of the Spirit Guard's chief guard, Night Leaning Moon. His knowledge was far beyond that of the younger generation. Therefore, Lu Jie was well aware of the benefits of Su Yiren being Lin Yuan's subordinate. In the future, if Lin Yuan wanted to target the Dark Continent, with Su Yiren around, everything Lin Yuan wanted to do would be justified. Lu Jie quickly calmed down after the initial shock. Ji Feng was still in shock and could not come back to his senses. Even though Ji Feng knew that Lin Yuan was Sky City's city lord and the Moon Empress disciple, he still did not dare to imagine that Lin Yuan could accept a Gloom Envoy as his subordinate. Ji Feng still did not dare to imagine that Lin Yuan could accept a Gloom Envoy as his subordinate. While Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng were talking, Su Yiren had already led Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao to the bathroom to take a bath. After Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao were done bathing, Xiao Hua skillfully picked up the white clothes that Lin Yuan had sewn for him and Xiao Chao and carefully washed them. Upon seeing this, Su Yiren prepared to help. Xiao Hua first thanked Su Yiren and then shook his head. Instead, he took the old clothes that Su Yiren had taken off and prepared to help her wash them. Upon seeing this, Su Yiren bent over and gently pinched Xiao Hua's cheek. Big sister will not wear these clothes anymore. Su Yiren, who was in the bathroom, looked at herself in the mirror. It felt as though a lifetime had passed. A moment later, Su Yiren took out a set of dark purple spirit chi clothes from her spatial disc. This spirit chi clothes were inlaid with purple caltrip crystals. The purple caltrip crystals on the surface of the clothes made the spirit chi clothes look like armor. However, this spirit chi clothes did not look bulky in the slightest when it was cut. When the purple armor-like spirit chi clothes were worn on Su Yiren's body, a strange sense of beauty instantly exuded from her body. Before Su Yiren became a Gloom Envoy, she had already become famous in the 7 dark states with her appearance. In the entire 7 dark states, no man or woman dared to say that they could surpass Su Yiren in appearance. It was fine if women could not compare to Su Yiren. Men could not compare to Su Yiren because Su Yiren's appearance did not look feminine. Instead, it was full of heroic spirit. In addition, Su Yiren had always kept her hair short. This made Su Yiren look a little androgynous. Su Yiren's temperament had a lot to do with the sacred source life form, Absolute Love Poppy's ability. This kind of androgynous beauty could instantly capture the eyes of other living beings. It made the other creatures feel a sense of love and attachment towards Su Yiren. After putting on the spirit chi clothes, Su Yiren thought for a moment and took out a black fruit from her spatial disc. Then she crushed the black fruit and squeezed out the black juice. She evenly rubbed the juice on her hair. As the black juice was evenly applied, Su Yiren's dark purple hair instantly turned black. Su Yiren had already become Lin Yuan's subordinate, and she had been observing him. Lu Jie and Ji Feng, who followed Lin Yuan, both had black hair and black eyes. Therefore, they wanted to be in step with Lin Yuan and not stand out beside him. Black hair and black eyes were the best choice. After dyeing her hair, Su Yiren took out an earring that looked like a hanging bell. She put this bell-like earring into her ear holes. The bell hanging under Su Yiren's ears swayed gently, and it would invisibly attract the attention of others. Su Yiren took a deep breath, opened the bathroom door and walked to Lin Yuan's side. Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng heard footsteps beside them and turned their heads. When they saw Su Yiren, they were stunned. At that moment, Morbius, which was on Lin Yuan's wrist, automatically used Calm Mind on Lin Yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 1428. Calm Mind was Morbius' passive skill. When he suffered any negative effects from his mind and soul, or when external forces would affect his mind and soul, Calm Mind would automatically activate. Zhou Xian had already used a law rune to issue an allegiance oath. Naturally, he did not dare to deliberately activate the absolute love poppy's ability to seduce Lin Yuan. One of the reasons Calm Heart was triggered was because of Zhou Xian's stunning beauty. On the other hand, it was also the absolute love poppy's ability that had subtly enhanced Zhou Xian's temperament. Lin Yuan saw that Zhou Xian was only stunned for a moment before her expression returned to normal. It could be said that Zhou Xian had the most outstanding features among all the women he had seen in this life. However, a woman's beauty was not only reflected in her facial features. Lin Yuan's master, the Moon Empress, the chief guard of the spirit guards, Night Leaning Moon, and even the Bamboo Monarch's lover, Pavilion Lord Wang Fuxiang. Every one of them had elegant facial features, a distinct personality, and a temperament that had been tempered by the baptism of time. This was something that Zhou Xian could not compare to in terms of looks alone. Also, the short-haired Zhou Xian was too handsome. This kind of heroic appearance would greatly reduce the lethality of a straight man. After Lin Yuan came back to his senses, Lu Jie did the same. Lu Jie, who had recovered from his shock, looked at Zhou Xian again. However, in terms of appearance and temperament, Lu Jie felt that Zhou Xian and Lin Yuan were almost on par. Ever since he had returned to the return from faraway mansion from the Divine Wood Federation, he had made a trip to the Radiant Moon Palace. Lu Jie found that Lin Yuan's facial features were even more exquisite. His bone form became even more regular. The altered bone form allowed Lin Yuan's figure and the shape of each bone to present a kind of extreme natural beauty. It also made Lin Yuan's natural aura even purer. The natural and clean temperament that was born of nobility was even more charming than the nobility that was nurtured from a high position since childhood. Although Zhou Xian's facial features were beautiful, they were not as exquisite as Lin Yuan's, who had used the geocentric jade milk. In the course of one's life, any bad habits such as sitting lazily would cause changes in one's bone structure. No matter how careful Zhou Xian was, she could only look at the bones. There was still a certain gap between him and Lin Yuan. Lu Jie, who was used to seeing Lin Yuan, instinctively became immune to Zhou Xian after seeing her at first glance. On the other hand, Ji Feng's gaze was fixed on Zhou Xian for a full minute before he broke away. Of course, this couldn't be blamed entirely on Ji Feng's weak willpower. As an emperor-class expert, Ji Feng was undoubtedly much stronger than Lin Yuan and Lu Jie in terms of willpower. At the end of the day, apart from those objective factors, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie were able to return to their senses earlier than Ji Feng. Most importantly, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie had contracted sacred source life forms. The sacred source life forms in Lin Yuan and Lu Jie's souls would automatically resist Zhou Xian's sacred source life form, the absolute love poppy. Although Zhou Xian did not purposely reveal this seductive aura. However, this did not stop Zhou Xian from determining that Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng had contracted sacred source life forms. This made Zhou Xian even more curious about his identity. Lin Yuan and Lu Jie were younger than him. Lu Jie treated Lin Yuan as the leader in all aspects and acted like a retainer. Even his young retainer had a sacred source life form. Zhou Xian could not think of any other identity that could afford such an arrangement. Zhou Xian pondered for a moment before asking Lin Yuan, "My lord, I am now your subordinate." "Sir, I am now your subordinate. You already know my identity, so I also want to know your identity. Knowing your identity before working for you will also let me know how to do things." Lin Yuan originally wanted to talk to Zhou Xian about the work she would be doing in the Divine Wood Federation in the future, as well as the goal he needed to achieve in the Aegean continent. Since Zhou Xian had taken the initiative to speak, it saved Lin Yuan the trouble of speaking first. However, Lin Yuan did not want to take the initiative to tell Zhou Xian his identity. Instead, he wanted to see if Zhou Xian could guess his identity based on what he had revealed. This was also a test of Zhou Xian's analytical ability. Thus Lin Yuan spoke. "Even if you don't know our identities, I'm sure you have your own guesses." Upon hearing that, Zhou Xian immediately understood what Lin Yuan meant. She knew that Lin Yuan wanted to test her. Zhou Xian, who had just become Lin Yuan's subordinate, was very willing to face Lin Yuan's test. The more tests Lin Yuan gave her, the more ability she could display and be valued by Lin Yuan. She had used the law rune to swear allegiance to Lin Yuan and signed a contract with the Corona Australis throne in the Celestial Council. It could be said that her life and death were firmly in Lin Yuan's hands. "My lord, your hair and eyes are black and you're on the Ahiwan main road. Logically speaking, I should have instinctively guessed that you are a member of the Deep Brahman Federation's hidden aristocrats. However, the Deep Brahman Federation's hidden aristocrats' method of nurturing their younger generation has always been to nurture the family's direct descendants to a certain level before sending them out to gain experience. With such a cultivation method, no disciple of a hidden clan would be worthy of 3 sacred source life forms. Also, my lord, and your 2 companions' bearing is not something a member of the Deep Brahman Federation's hidden aristocrats can have. Although I can't see anything from your eyes, my lord. When your 2 companions talked about the Divine Wood Federation, the companion who is about the same age as you only had a calm look in his eyes. But in the eyes of the older companion, there was a hint of disdain. This means that the older members on your side do not recognize the Divine Wood Federation or have an instinctive contempt for the Divine Wood Federation. In that case, according to your hair and eye colors, only the Radiance Federation, the Sand Continent Federation, and the Mother Goddess Federation, which have Class 5 Creation Masters, are suitable. But the Sand Continent Federation's entire federation is a desert environment, and the people here are blown by the sand all year round. Even if the impurities in the body are washed away, the skin will still show the unique style of the desert residents after being blown by the sand for a long time. From the moment the Mother Goddess Federation's people are born, they will use the phase blood from their head to various parts of their body. They will engrave tattoos according to their own experiences and record their life's glory and growth on their body. My lord, the 3 of you don't have tattoos, so only a powerful federation like the Radiance Federation with 3 Class 5 Creation Masters can nurture a person like you. Chapter 1429. Zhou Xian paused for a moment before continuing. I have also guessed that you might be a member of some powerful organization such as the Pagoda Canon. But if you really came from a secret organization, you wouldn't have asked me to guess your identity. If you were born in the Pagoda Canon, you wouldn't be looking for me to save me. It's to kill me, to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Lin Yuan nodded approvingly at Zhou Xian. Then he threw out his second question. What do you think I should do if I want to integrate the resources of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation? Zhou Xian's pupils constricted at his words. He did not expect Lin Yuan to have such a big scheme. Based on the contact he had with the flowers and grass earlier, Zhou Xian knew that Lin Yuan was not a cold-blooded person through her conversation with Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Thus, when she gave her suggestion, Zhou Xian deliberated for a while before speaking. I think you can take the same path as the Deep Vendor Federation and use the Chamber of Commerce to absorb the resources of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. At the same time, this method will be more acceptable to the people of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. They might even thank you instead. At this point, Zhou Xian added. It's just that if I want to establish a merchant association, recruit caravans, and open branches in various large cities, I will need a lot of energy. My lord, if you don't have time, you can choose a small merchant association in the Deep Burn Federation to support. Secondly, you can leave this matter to me. I will definitely make this matter as beautiful as possible. Zhou Xian's thoughts coincided with Lin Yuan's. However, Lin Yuan did not think as far ahead as Zhou Xian. However, Zhou Xian's suggestion of supporting a small chamber of commerce was indeed a feasible solution. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's attitude toward the caravan made Lin Yuan realize that it was simply impossible to rely on the caravan to obtain unlimited supplies from the Chamber of Commerce. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce had stolen the merchant caravan, and he had coincidentally discovered it. There was no guarantee that the same thing wouldn't happen to other chambers of commerce. Therefore, supporting a small chamber of commerce was not a bad idea. This made Lin Yuan think of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. The Flourishing Chamber of Commerce wasn't small, so it didn't need to start from scratch. The Flourishing Chamber of Commerce had indeed encountered a problem. It wasn't impossible for the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce to be supported. As for letting Zhou Xian establish a Chamber of Commerce, he had never thought about it. In his opinion, letting Zhou Xian, the current Dark Envoy, establish the Chamber of Commerce was a waste of her talents. He still had to develop the Swamp World later. Chapter 1430. Speaking of people who could contract the same Fey, Lin Yuan had seen them before. After Lin Yuan had opened the Brahma insect cage channel, Lu Pinru had relied on her spiritual energy to contract nearly 20 lustrous weaver silkworms. Now when Lu Pinru was fighting, she could take out a piece of clothing from the large wardrobe on her back every second. As Lu Pinru contracted more and more lustrous weaver silkworms, the wardrobe on her back also grew bigger. In addition to continuing to contract lustrous weaver silkworms and designing spirit chi clothing with Wenyu, Lu Pinru was also working out. Otherwise, Lu Pinru might not be able to carry the large wardrobe on her back when she needed to fight. In addition, if Lin Yuan had not been nurturing the spirit spring lily, there happened to be a spirit spring lily that had mutated into a yellow spring lily. Then Gao Feng would have contracted 3 of the same spirit spring lilies. However, if all of them were contracted, Gao Feng might not have the opportunity to become His Majesty's disciple. Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to check the 4 love-seizing poppies that Su Yiren had summoned. He found that the 4 love-seizing poppies' bronze exclusive skills were exactly the same. They were all yearning passion. Yearning passion. Make other targets involuntarily have a good impression of you, resulting in love. When the love reaches a certain level, it will engrave a love imprint in the heart, spirit, and soul at the same time, using the love imprint to control the target. Obviously, these 4 love-seizing poppies had been carefully selected before contracting. The existence of these 4 love-seizing poppies was to complement the sacred source life form, absolute love poppy. Therefore, these 4 love-seizing poppies did not have any special abilities. To know how strong Su Yiren was, he had to see the sacred source life form's ability. After summoning the 4 love-seizing poppies, Su Yiren raised her hand. A large, flirtatious, pink poppy appeared in her palm. At that moment, Su Yiren's eyes turned a beautiful pink. Su Yiren's pink eyes glowed with a bright light. The surrounding environment was filled with a charming and gentle pink color. Love quickly grew in such an atmosphere. Princess in Lin Yuan's soul and the sacred source life form in Lu Jie's soul both released the aura that belonged to sacred source life forms. He did his best to resist this energy that could quickly breed love. However, Ji Feng's attention was completely focused on the absolute love poppy in Su Yiren's hands. Seeing this, Su Yiren hurriedly whipped Ji Feng's head with the absolute love poppy. Only then did Ji Feng wake up from this atmosphere. Ji Feng, who had just woken up, felt a lingering fear and embarrassment at the same time. Ji Feng could feel that if he was really affected by the absolute love poppy in Su Yiren's hands, he would not be able to suppress the love in his heart. After 10 years of fleeing, Ji Feng, the former young master of the Sea Sky clan, had turned into a middle-aged man in dire straits. Ji Feng had never hoped that he would be able to contract a sacred source life form in his lifetime. He had done nothing because Lin Yuan had seen him being affected by Su Yiren's sacred source life form. Without another word, Lin Yuan bestowed a sacred source life form to himself. Ji Feng felt that he was truly unable to repay such kindness. The words "a scholar would die for a bosom friend" seemed so powerless in front of Lin Yuan. He had already owed Lin Yuan a life and had yet to repay it. Ji Feng lowered his head and took the sacred source life form from Lin Yuan. At that moment, Ji Feng's thoughts had changed. The original agreement between Ji Feng and Lin Yuan was to stay by Lin Yuan's side for 3 years. Once the 3 years were up, Ji Feng would be free to leave Lin Yuan's side and seek revenge on the Whale Ocean Trading Company. In his heart, Ji Feng had already extended the 3 years indefinitely. Ji Feng had decided to stay by Lin Yuan's side for as long as he was alive. He would predict Lin Yuan's misfortune and fulfill his duty as a subordinate. When his life ended, he would seek revenge on the myriad flag's progeny. Su Yiren fixed her gaze on Lin Yuan. After a long time, Su Yiren still had a look of disbelief. Su Yiren really wanted to ask Lin Yuan what he thought the sacred source life form was. Why did he give it to his subordinate so casually? It was as if he was rewarding a source-type life form. Su Yiren was pleasantly surprised by Lin Yuan's reward for Ji Feng. Since Lin Yuan was so generous to his subordinates, she had to work hard by his side. Would she be able to receive enough rewards to increase her strength? Su Yiren was currently only a Class 3 creation master. Su Yiren's grandmother was a Class 5 creation master and had been doing her best to teach Su Yiren. Unfortunately, Su Yiren did not have much talent as a creation master. In addition, Su Yiren's contracted 4 love-seizing poppies had increased her strength to suzerain and quality to myth I. When she reached myth 2, the love-seizing poppies wanted to quickly increase her strength in a short time. It was inevitable that law crystals would be used. If her grandmother was still around, Su Yiren would not have to worry about law crystals. However, her grandmother had died at the hands of the Seventh Page War. Su Yiren could only rely on Lin Yuan now. If Lin Yuan did not plan to put her in an important position in the future and did not pour resources for her, only letting her work for development, her talent would undoubtedly be wasted. Slowly Min Ran and the others. Su Yiren was filled with hatred for the Tower Cannon and the mission of reviving the Seven Dark States. Su Yiren, who was used to being a prodigy, would have her talent obliterated and become an ordinary spirit chi professional. This was worse than killing Su Yiren. In these 2 years I will train you, including the 4 myth I love framing poppies in your hands. With that, Lin Yuan tossed a heavy brocade pouch to Su Yiren. He stood up and said, "Right now, all of Oak City's local powers should be talking about us. We will make a trip to the Flourishing Prosperity Merchant Association first and wait for Oak City's Class 4 Creation Master Clan to contact us." Let me interrupt, I've been using a book-chasing app recently. I can read books in a cache and read them offline. Then we can return to the underground palace. Lin Yuan looked at Zhou Yiren. From now on, it will depend on your ability to see how the Haiwan Main Road develops. If you can help me unify the resources of the Agoan continent, I don't mind helping you in the future. I think you understand what I mean. Lin Yuan's words caused Zhou Yiren's pupils to shrink. Su Yiren clenched her fists. After the shock, Zhou Yiren's eyes shone with the light of ecstasy and hope. It seemed that it was not impossible for her to take revenge. Lin Yuan's words were equivalent to giving Zhou Yiren a promise. As for whether she could capture it or not, it all depended on what she did. Zhou Yiren's heart was filled with enthusiasm. As they walked out of the tree fortress with Little Flower and Little Grass, Zhou Yiren gently opened the brocade pouch that Lin Yuan tossed over. After seeing what was in the brocade pouch, Zhou Yiren gently closed it. The corners of her mouth curled up into a joyful smile. Zhou Yiren knew that she had won the bet she had made when she was at the end of her rope. From now on she would follow this young man in front of her. Together with this young man, she would stir up a storm in the 3 federations of the Agoan continent. While Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, Jifeng, and the others were heading to the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, there was a huge commotion in Oak City's ruling family, the Ding family. Ever since the Ding family head became a Class 4 creation master and dominated Oak City, he had never been disturbed by a member of the family when he was nurturing phase in the breeding room. He was called out of the breeding room to report the situation. The Ding family had endured the displeasure in his heart when he was disturbed, but he also had to be cautious. The creation master was the core of a family, and the creation master himself had absolute authority in the family. If it was a small matter, the Ding family head, Ding Qingxua, did not believe that anyone would dare to disturb him. As long as it was not a huge matter, the elder council could resolve it on their own. After leaving the breeding room, Ding Qingxua went to the conference room and saw that everyone from the Ding family was already present. Ding Qingxua frowned and went to his main seat. He took a sip of the fine wine that had been poured on the main seat. Ding Qingxua asked the woman sitting on his right. Upon hearing that, Ding Jian replied with an indignant expression. For the past few years, the Deep Frost Merchant Guild has been using benefits that far exceed other merchant guilds to attract a large number of caravan members. In fact, the Deep Frost Merchant Guild has been killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. We have previously discussed that the number of caravans in Oak City has decreased by 1/3 over the past 2 years. This 1/3 of the caravans excluding those that died in accidents. I'm afraid they have all been robbed and killed by the Deep Frost Merchant Guild. Upon hearing that, Ding Qingxua was instantly enraged and slammed his palm on the table. At this moment, Ding Qingxua didn't just want to put the blame on the Deep Frost Merchant Guild. Instead, he truly hated the Deep Frost Merchant Guild. The development and prosperity of a city didn't just depend on the number and standard of the creation masters in the city. The most important thing was the number of caravans that came and went. With the number of caravans decreasing by 1/3, it meant that Oak City's prosperity had decreased by 1/3. Ding Qingxua would never allow such an action that was akin to bleeding his own artery. Originally, Ding Qingxua hadn't thought of a reason to curry favor with that black-clothed youth. Now Ding Qingxua had an idea. Ding Qingxua stood up and said, "The nature of this matter is vile. The nature of this matter is vile. I'll personally report to the Divine Wood Imperial Court about the Deep Frost Trade Association's actions in Oak City. The Divine Wood Royal Court will send someone down to investigate and see if the Deep Frost Merchant Guild's branches in other major cities have similar incidents. If there isn't, the Liu family will have to pay a huge sum of money to my Oak City for Song Dingzhen's personal decision. If there is, the royal court will probably not allow the Liu family to set up a merchant guild in the Divine Wood Federation again. Just as Ding Qingxua made his decision and was preparing to find out where Lin Yuan was and personally meet him, Lin Yuan had already arrived at the entrance of the Flourishing Merchant Guild's tree fortress. At this moment, Li Yuan had just returned to the Flourishing Merchant Guild. She was still recalling the scene of Lin Yuan giving the order to exterminate the Deep Frost Merchant Guild. It could be said that the biggest beneficiary of Lin Yuan's action of exterminating the Deep Frost Merchant Guild was Li Yuan. Chapter 1435. Su Yiren's spirit chi clothing had used at least 2,000 purple caltrip crystals. Such a large number of purple caltrip crystals could not have been collected from the Class 3 underground dimensional rift. Although Li Yuan could not tell what the clock-shaped earrings on Su Yiren's ears were made of, just based on the spirit chi clothing embedded with purple caltrip crystals, it was definitely worth more than 12 million deep Brahman dollars. The price of such luxurious clothing was even more expensive than the spirit chi clothing that Lin Yuan was wearing and the sea-patterned incense burner pendant. However, a person wearing such clothing actually called herself Lin Yuan's maidservant. This made Li Yuan have a new guess about Lin Yuan's identity after she saw how he had ordered experts to kill the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. All along, Li Yuan had thought that wearing clothing only depends on one's liking and not the price, was just a pretentious statement. Even a pinnacle Class 4 creation master wouldn't be able to do this when wearing it. But now Li Yuan believed it. The example was right in front of Li Yuan, and she had no choice but to believe it. Even the spirit chi clothing that her subordinates were wearing was worth 10 million deep Brahman dollars. What kind of spirit chi clothing could Lin Yuan not wear? Elder Duan had been waiting at the door of the president's office. After the middle-aged man brought over the aged wine and spirit fruits, Elder Duan received them. He was afraid that the middle-aged man would lose his composure in front of Su Yiren again, so he did not let him enter the room. Li Yuan took the spirit fruits on the table and personally squeezed the juice for Lin Yuan and the others. On Elder Duan's side, he helped Ji Feng open the top-aged wine of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. As a result, when the aged wine was opened, there was a bit of pungent wine smell. Ji Feng said, "This aged wine should have been brewed for at least 80 years. This aged wine should have been brewed for at least 80 years. Using sour platinum spirit fruits and allowing them to fully ferment. Using the blood and marrow of a fantasy breed dragon species Fey to soak the tiger bones of a fantasy breed tiger species Fey together to extract all the odor in the tiger bones. The odor in the tiger bones and the fishy smell in the dragon bones collide, cleverly removing the sourness in the spirit fruits. The idea of this winemaker is indeed ingenious. Just with this idea, the wine will definitely be a good one. It was really good to advertise. It was worth installing. It was even supported on Android and Apple phones." Ji Feng's words caused Li Yuan and Elder Duan to feel numb. The last time Ji Feng drank the elephant bone wine, he knew the ingredients after just one sip. This had already shocked Li Yuan and Old Duan. Su Yiren had only used the little information she had about the transaction with the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce as a bargaining chip to force Li Yuan to this point in the negotiation. This showed Lin Yuan how powerful Su Yiren was. Originally, he was here to talk about cooperation. However, after Li Yuan had expressed the intention to cooperate, Su Yiren had immediately made adjustments to the plan. She had wanted to ensure the greatest benefits for her side. Just from this point alone, it could be seen that Su Yiren's talent in internal affairs was extraordinary. However, Lin Yuan was not sure if she could compare to Wen Yu. After all, the two were good at different things. Wen Yu was good at gathering information, organizing information and coordinating resources. Zoel, on the other hand, excelled in diplomacy. Su Yiren's words had clearly provoked Li Yuan's pride. Li Yuan had just developed a strong sense of love for Lin Yuan. Su Yiren's words were basically telling Li Yuan the distance between her and Lin Yuan. More than once, Li Yuan wanted to slam the table and leave the president's office. But when she thought of the situation of flourishing Chamber of Commerce and her father's dying wish, Li Wan forced herself to calm down. Li Wan said after a series of violent coughs, "The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce is not a first-rate Chamber of Commerce. What is useful to you is only the function of the Chamber of Commerce. Either you want to invest in the flourishing Chamber of Commerce and are interested in the shares of the flourishing Chamber of Commerce. No matter which of these 2 points you value, I can only trade shares." When she said this, Li Wan had a conflicted expression on her face. Su Yiren did not disturb Li Wan. Instead, she allowed Li Wan to think to her heart's content. In the end, Li Wan took a deep look at Lin Yuan and then said to Su Yiren, "Most of the shares of the flourishing Chamber of Commerce are in the hands of the elders of the Li family. I might be the president of the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, but I only have 40% of the shares. I can give you all 40% of the shares without holding anything back. But I have 2 requests. 166 Reading Network. If Lin Yuan poured too much resources into the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would take advantage. Whether it was taking advantage or suffering losses, it would affect the stability of the cooperation. Therefore, the best way to solve this situation was for Lin Yuan to pour resources into the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce every time. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would buy it at a certain price. This method was equivalent to the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce using 40% or 49% of the shares to buy the qualifications for Lin Yuan to pour resources into the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. In such a situation, if the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce wanted to benefit, it had to obtain a large amount of resources from Lin Yuan. Li Wan chose this transaction method to see how much resources Lin Yuan would pour into the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce in the future. To what extent was he going to do for the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan looked at Li Wan with admiration. Since Li Wan was meticulous in doing things, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't be stingy. Su Yiren listened to Li Wan's words while looking at Lin Yuan's expression. Su Yiren knew that Li Wan had made an excellent decision after making a correct choice. In the future, the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce was destined to leap from an ant to a dragon above the clouds in the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. The small book booth that the book friends used previously shoulding now that they were basically using the Xianxia apxes. At that moment, Su Yiren and Li Wan heard Lin Yuan speak. "Until now, I still don't know the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's main business direction. You can introduce it to me, President Li Wan." Upon hearing this, Li Wan was delighted. She knew that Lin Yuan was going to pour resources into the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's current business direction was animal fur, fine spirit plants, spirit fruits, fine wine, metal ores, and a small number of high-quality fays. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's business direction had always been conventional and didn't have any outstanding aspects. Due to the lack of creation master resources in the Li family, the proportion of high-quality fays was very small. The small number of high-quality fays was used by Li Wan to curry favor with old customers. Chapter 1437. But even so, there were still many old customers who felt that the goods of flourishing Fan Chamber of Commerce were not complete and the quality was not high. Li Wan desperately wanted to change the situation of flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Thus, Li Wan answered Lin Yuan's question greedily. "Young Master Lin, our flourishing Chamber of Commerce can buy any kind of goods and sell them on the shelves. With the success of this auction, I plan to hold regular flourishing auctions in each branch. Therefore, even if it's some strange materials, my flourishing Chamber of Commerce can still digest them." As Li Wan spoke, she specifically mentioned the Xingfan auction. The purpose was to hint to Lin Yuan that he could provide more premium resources when providing resources. Lin Yuan nodded in response. Lin Yuan was not afraid of Li Wan's ambitions. On the contrary, the more ambitious Li Wan was, the more Lin Yuan admired her. Li Wan behaved like a salted fish. On the contrary, Lin Yuan had to reconsider whether he should continue to cooperate with the flourishing Chamber of Commerce. "I won't provide too many supplies to flourishing Chamber of Commerce." Hearing Lin Yuan say this, Li Wan and Elder Duan's hopeful gazes immediately dimmed. Before Li Wan and Elder Duan could smile bitterly in disappointment, Lin Yuan continued speaking. I can send a low-class Class 4 Creation Master to be stationed in Oak City's Deep Enlightenment Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. At the same time, assign 10 Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Masters to customize the spirit fluids according to the requirements of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. Provide 10 pairs of Bronze/Epic Walnuts, 200 Bronze/Flawless Phase, and 5 Bronze/Epic Phase every month. As for the other trivial materials, I won't provide them to the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Let Flourishing Chamber of Commerce deal with it themselves. Every time Lin Yuan spoke, Li Wan and Elder Duan's eyes would widen. Both of them were shocked by Lin Yuan's words. Send a Class 4 Primary Creation Master to Oak City's Flourishing Chamber of Commerce branch to oversee it. It should be known that the leader of Oak City was also the patriarch of the Ding clan. He was just a low-class Class 4 Creation Master. As long as the Class 4 low-level Creation Master Lin sent joined the Divine Wood Federation and was certified in the Divine Wood Royal Court, the Creation Master would be able to enter the Divine Wood Federation. A dozen years was enough to create a city as prosperous as Oak City. Furthermore, Lin Yuan didn't just send a low-class Class 4 Creation Master to the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. There were also 10 Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Masters who worked for the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. In Oak City, the Ding family didn't even have 12 Class 3 Creation Master clans. There was only one Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master clan. Class 4 Creation Masters that were recognized by the Divine Wood Imperial Court would automatically join the Divine Wood Council and become a member of the council. Therefore Ding Qingshuo could be considered an official. If there was anything in the future he would have to contact the Divine Wood Federation officials. Taking Ding Qingshuo's path was much more stable than taking Jian Li's. Lin Yuan stood up and spoke to Li Wan. President Li, we've finished our discussion. Just give me those walnut trees before I leave. Su Yiren will send you the follow-up supplies. Since President Li and I have a relationship, it's inconvenient for outsiders to know. President Li, why don't you specially arrange a reception room for me to meet Ding Qingshuo? Upon seeing Lin Yuan stand up, Lu Jie and Ji Feng also prepared to get up. At that moment they heard Lin Yuan speak. Big brother Lu Jifeng, you two stay here with Xiaohua. Xiao Chao, drink more juice. Then call the Sincere E-Caravan's captain Mr. Zhao over. After that, let the Sincere E-Caravan be affiliated with the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Our conflict with the Lu family started because of the Sincere E-Caravan. If the Lu family wants revenge, they will find the Sincere E-Caravan immediately. At that time the people I arranged in the Sincere E-Caravan will solve the Lu family's problem. Upon hearing that, Lu Jie nodded and said after thinking for a while, Lin Yuan, leave the Sincere E-Caravan's matters to me. Yuan, leave the Sincere E-Caravan's matters to me. You don't have to worry about it. I think President Li Wan will be more willing to help the Qingyi merchant team in the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce than to go out and deliver supplies. In Lu Jie's heart, Li Wan was not reliable. Even if Su Yiren kept an eye on Li Wan, it was hard to guarantee that Li Wan would not have strange thoughts. There were more than 100 people in the Qingyi trade caravan, and it was hard to predict people's minds. Mr. Zhao was grateful to Lin Yuan, but it didn't mean that everyone would be grateful to Lin Yuan. He might as well place the people from the Sincere E-Caravan in the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. At that time the two of them could supervise each other. This kind of supervision could guarantee that the people's hearts wouldn't change. Hearing this, Li Wan felt conflicted. From the bottom of his heart he was unwilling to take in the Qingyi merchant caravan. But Li Wan was in no position to refute such a suggestion. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan smiled and said to Lu Jie, Brother Lu, please take care of the Qingyi caravan. Just in time to wait for me to finish my business here. We'll go back tonight. There's only a month left. I should go into seclusion to improve myself. Upon hearing that, Lu Jie immediately thought of the Radiance 100 sequence selection that would start in less than a month. Ding Qingshuo doesn't have the ability to enhance a high-quality bronze fei, and the Ding family has yet to rely on a Class 4 Creation Master clan that is stronger than us. Therefore it is very difficult for the Ding clan to obtain resources that are at the elementary Class 4 and above. If you can give the Ding clan a future, a chance to obtain glory, Ding Qingshuo will definitely be deeply grateful to you. I plan to build the first love music workshop in Oak City. If I want the Love Music Workshop to develop at the fastest speed in Oak City, I need the support of the Ding family. I have to establish the Love Workshop as soon as possible and make a name for myself. Only then can I raise the absolute Love Poppy star rank to 10 within 2 years. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan flipped his hand and took out a pair of bronze/epic storage walnuts. After 2 rounds, he tossed the walnut to Zhou Xian and said, "That's right. As I said, I'll leave the matters of the Divine Wood Federation to you in the future. When Ding Qingxua arrives, you'll have a chat with him. As for you wanting to rope in Ding Qingxua, you can give me any resources below the pinnacle class 4 creation master level." Upon hearing that, Zhou Xian could not help but think of the things in the brocade pouch that Lin Yuan had tossed to her. Lin Yuan could casually take out a bag of law crystals that contained pure power of law. He might even be able to promise Class 5 Creation Masters resources. However, in the Divine Wood Federation, there was no need to reveal Class 5 Creation Master resources. This was probably the reason why Lin Yuan set the standard for Creation Master resources at the pinnacle of Class 4. Zhou Xian was very happy that Lin Yuan trusted her so much. On the other hand, she was even more grateful to Lin Yuan. For a prodigy like Zhou Xian, what she was afraid of was never that things were difficult. She was afraid that when doing things, there would always be people who would restrict her. She would not be able to act freely. Since Lin Yuan trusted her so much, Zhou Xian did not want to let him down. Of course, Zhou Xian also had her own motives. Zhou Xian knew that only by completing the mission that Lin Yuan gave her could she recover the Dark Continent and recover the 7 Dark States. Soon Ding Qingxua arrived at the door of the guest room. He recalled that Ding Jian had mentioned that the black-clothed youth's servant was at least a pinnacle Emperor-class expert. He might even be an Emperor-class expert. Ding Qingxua's heart was filled with nervousness. As the local tyrant of Oak City, Ding Qingxua knew far better than Ding Jian what pinnacle Emperor-class experts and Emperor-class experts meant. This meant that there was at least an advanced Class 4 Creation Master behind the black-clothed youth. To Ding Qingxua, there was no difference between an advanced Class 4 Creation Master and a pinnacle Class 4 Creation Master. Chapter 1440. When it came to reporting the Deep Frost Association to the Divine Wood Royal Court, Ding Qingxua carefully observed Lin Yuan and Zhou Xian's expressions. Ding Qingxua thought that the two of them would be delighted after hearing the news he brought. Who would have thought that he would have miscalculated? When the two of them heard the news, their expressions didn't change at all. This meant that the youth and the woman in the room did not take the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Lu family behind it seriously at all. It looked like his plan to use the method of suppressing Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce to express goodwill to the youth had failed. However, Ding Qingxua continued. After the Divine Wood Royal Court investigates, the Lu family behind the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce will definitely give you an explanation. Although he had failed to express his goodwill, he still had to express his attitude. Zhou Xian had specifically asked him what was going on with the Lu family. Zhou Xian understood that Ding Qingxua was trying to curry favor with Lin Yuan. At the same time, Ding Qingxua was also testing their attitude towards the Lu family. Their attitude towards the Lu family could indirectly show the strength of their side. Zhou Xian said, "The people of Oak City's Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce are all dead. The grudge between us and Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce is over. If the Lu family dares to find trouble with us after this, then the Lu family should be prepared to be erased from this world. City Lord Ding doesn't need to worry about our grudges with the Lu family." Zhou Xian's tone was nonchalant when she mentioned the Lu family. Zhou Xian's attitude toward the Lu family made Ding Qingxua's eyes light up. Just as Ding Qingxua was about to use another method to curry favor, Zhou Xian spoke up. "City Lord Ding, our young master doesn't like people who beat around the bush. If you have something to say, just say it." Ding Qingxua looked a little embarrassed when he heard that. Ding Qingxua did not expect that his goodwill would be seen as a waste of time. Ding Qingxua had taken the initiative to meet Lin Yuan this time with a purpose. At present, Ding Qingxua's most urgent task was to purify his main fei, the dragon-horned black turtle's bloodline. Although the dragon-horned black tortoise had dragon horns on its head and had obtained a portion of the dragon bloodline, it was still a dragon-horned tortoise. But fundamentally speaking, the dragon-horned mystic turtle was a turtle. The turtle bloodline was also a very noble bloodline among feis. Ding Qingxua was a defense-class spirit chi professional. In terms of defense, the turtle bloodline was undoubtedly stronger than the dragon bloodline. Therefore, Ding Qingxua wanted to suppress the activation of the dragon bloodline in the dragon-horned black tortoise's body and purify and evolve the tortoise bloodline at the same time. To a Class 4 low-class creation master like Ding Qingxua, it was truly too much. This was not Ding Qingxua's first time purifying the tortoise phase bloodline. But no matter how careful Ding Qingxua was, every experiment ended in failure. This result was an extremely great burden to the Ding clan. It also allowed Ding Qingxua to see where his limits lay. In order to obtain an opportunity to improve, the simplest and most effective method was to rely on a creation master that was stronger than oneself. In the Divine Wood Imperial Court, the Holy Wood Mystic Realm that opened once every 10 years would open in another 4 months. Ding Qingxua only had the strength to make a breakthrough and rush into the top 20 seats in the Divine Wood Council. Only then would they have the qualifications to enter the Holy Wood Secret Realm. Regardless, Ding Qingxua wanted to fight for it. If he had not coincidentally obtained news from Ding Jian about Lin Yuan and confirmed that Lin Yuan had an advanced Class 4 or above creation master behind him, Ding Qingxua would not have believed it. Ding Qingxua was preparing to head to Holy Wood City next month to see if he could rely on the Ding clan's accumulation over the past few years. He wanted to see if he could get a chance to purify the dragon-horned black tortoise's bloodline in the Holy Wood City's aristocratic families without sacrificing loyalty. Only by rushing into the Divine Wood Council's top 20 seats and entering the Holy Wood Mystic Realm would he be able to obtain a plant fey with the Holy Wood bloodline. Only then would the Ding clan be able to have an unfailing legacy in the Divine Wood Federation. Ding Qingxua probed. My Ding clan has a tortoise fey whose bloodline has reached a critical stage of purification. I want to make a deal with you as long as you can help me purify that tortoise fey's bloodline. You can choose whatever you want from the Ding clan. Su Yiren's expression did not change at all. Su Yiren picked up a spirit fruit on the table and took a bite. She then shook her sleeve and revealed the bronze/epic walnut that Lin Yuan had just thrown over in her other hand. He gently played with the board. Ding Qingxua's eyes lit up when he saw the pair of red walnuts in Su Yiren's hands. Now Ding Qingxua was sure that he had found the right person. However, the black-robed youth in front of him might not be interested in something that belonged to the Ding clan. Seeing that Su Yiren had no intention of replying, Ding Qingxua made up his mind. If you are willing to help me and give me a chance to enter the Holy Wood Secret Realm, at that time I can lend you the plant phase with the Holy Wood bloodline that I obtained from the Mystic Realm 3 times. The app I've been using recently is supported on both Android and Apple phones. Su Yiren did not have much of a reaction to Ding Qingxua's words. Chapter 1441. It could be said that Lin Yuan coveted plant phase with the Holy Wood bloodline. He had always thought that the Divine Wood Federation had strict control over plant phase with the Holy Wood bloodline. Therefore, Lin Yuan had never thought about obtaining plant phase with the Holy Wood bloodline. But now he realized that he wanted plant phase with the Holy Wood bloodline with Ding Qingxua. It was not impossible. After realizing this, Lin Yuan replaced Zoel and took over the conversation. It's not difficult for your tortoise fey to purify its bloodline. You said that tortoise fey is called the dragon-horned mystic turtle, which means that it has the bloodline of a dragon species fey. The bloodline of a dragon species fey is an opportunity for some fish species, insect species and snake species feys. But for tortoises and tigers which have extremely noble bloodlines, it is a burden. If you want the dragon-horned mystic turtle to purify a tortoise fey's bloodline, the best way is to use pure spirit chi to stimulate the dragon-horned mystic turtle's bloodline and let the tortoise fey's bloodline be purified on its own. It will then devour the dragon species fey's bloodline. This is the best way to enhance and purify the dragon-horned mystic turtle's bloodline. Only Pinnacle Class 4 creation masters are able to concoct the appropriate concentration of spirit chi. Every word Lin Yuan said made Ding Qingxua's heart tighten. As a low-class Class 4 creation master, Ding Qingxua did not expect the youth in black in front of him to detect the crux of it just based on the name of his fey. However, Lin Yuan said that only Pinnacle Class 4 creation masters could concoct that concentration of spirit chi, which made Ding Qingxua feel despair. At the same time, Ding Qingxua looked at Lin Yuan as if he was expecting something. Ding Qingxua knew that the youth in black in front of him would not say so much without any basis. There must be a follow-up. At that moment, Ding Qingxua heard Lin Yuan say, Only Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters can concoct pure spirit chi. I can provide you with the pure spirit chi that only Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters can concoct. Summon the Dragonhorn Mystic Turtle in a while. Let me check its attributes and the laws it has comprehended. After purifying your bloodline, I can also help your dragon-horned black tortoise safely pass the world cleansing of Myth 3. In the future we can even provide you with law crystals that are convenient for your dragon-horned black tortoise to absorb. This will allow your dragon-horned black tortoise's strength to increase rapidly after it reaches Myth 3. Lin Yuan's words made Ding Qingshua's breathing quicken. Just as Ding Qingshua's eyes turned red with excitement, Lin Yuan changed the topic. However, there are conditions for me to raise the strength of your main Fei and let you rise rapidly in the Divine Wood Council. Chapter 1442. In the Divine Wood Federation, the Divine Wood Imperial Court's management of the feudal lords had always been loose. However, not everyone would be like Ding Qingxua, who had no sense of belonging to the Divine Wood Federation. Even a plant Fei with the Holy Wood bloodline could be used as a bargaining chip to trade. No matter what, Lin Yuan's investment in Ding Qingxua must not be in vain. The best way to not lose the investment of resources was to obtain Ding Qingshua's loyalty. Make Ding Qingxua his servant. Lin Yuan looked at Ding Qingxua and said solemnly, "Use the law rune of the dragon-horned mystic turtle and issue an allegiance oath to me. I'll think of a way to let your dragon-horned mystic turtle become a creation breed within 4 months." Lin Yuan's words made Ding Qingxua suddenly widen his eyes. However, in the face of such a good opportunity, Ding Qingxua did not immediately agree. This was because Lin Yuan wanted something that Ding Qingxua had always been unwilling to give up. That was freedom. Becoming an emperor-class expert was something that Ding Qingxua did not dare to hope for in this life. However, after becoming an emperor-class expert, he could not stand at the top and summon the wind and rain. Instead, he would have to be a slave and be used by others. This made Ding Qingxua feel that he might as well stay in Oak City peacefully. It was comfortable to be a local tyrant. However, if Ding Qingxua were to reject Lin Yuan now, he wouldn't dare to say it out loud. The black-clothed youth in front of him had promised to do it within 4 months. He would upgrade his dragon-horned mystic turtle, which was currently at the pinnacle of Myth 2, to a monarch-class creation breed. Ding Qingxua did not dare to believe such a promise, but he had to believe it. It was just that within 4 months he could upgrade a Pinnacle Myth 2 Fei to a creation breed. Was it really something that a Pinnacle Class 4 creation master could do? Ding Qingxua was very afraid that once he refused he would immediately be killed by the other party. The moment Lin Yuan had berated the purple-clothed woman, Ding Qingxua had felt a powerful charm. Under such extreme charm he was afraid that his consciousness would be taken away in less than 3 seconds. Just as Ding Qingxua was in a dilemma, Lin Yuan said, "The divine wood is like a chaotic world. The divine tree is like a chaotic world. If the Ding clan finds the right direction, it's entirely possible for them to ascend to a high position in this chaotic world, gather around authority, and establish an everlasting achievement. I heard that not a single disciple of the younger generation from your Ding clan made it into the Divine Wood 100 sequence. I can equip every direct descendant of the Ding clan with 2 bronze/epic Feis. You will also be responsible for all the resources for the 5 young Feis from normal to suzerain/myth." In front of Lin Yuan, it also had to put on the attitude of a servant. Looking at the dragon-horned mystic turtle that Ding Qingxua had summoned, Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to investigate this dragon-horned mystic turtle. After a probe, Lin Yuan found that this water-type dragon-horned mystic turtle comprehended the heavy water law. Among the many water-type laws, the heavy water law was considered a good law. Although this dragon-horned mystic turtle's abilities were somewhat ordinary, its 3 exclusive skills were all very outstanding. It could be seen that Ding Qingxua had put in a lot of effort in nurturing the dragon-horned mystic turtle. This dragon-horned mystic turtle's dragon horns were connected to its skull, and the 2 main dragon horns had fine horn thorns. The horn thorns were also attached to a layer of fine dragon scales. This meant that the dragon species Fei bloodline in the dragon-horned mystic turtle's body was not much inferior to that of a turtle species Fei. Lin Yuan said to Ding Qingxua, "If you're lucky, the dragon-horned mystic turtle's turtle species bloodline will devour the dragon species bloodline. This high content of dragon species bloodline may cause the turtle species bloodline to mutate, allowing your mystic turtle to become a mutated species among turtle species phase, a black turtle. Ding Qingxua was overjoyed when he heard that, and he and the dragon-horned mystic turtle beside him expressed their gratitude to Lin Yuan one after another. Before Lin Yuan had the idea of taking Ding Qingxua as a servant, he had planned to find the law crystals of the corresponding attribute to help the dragon-horned mystic turtle improve its strength after knowing that it had comprehended the law. But now, Ding Qingxua had become Lin Yuan's servant. With the law binding Ding Qingxua, it could not betray Lin Yuan at all. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not need to hide things like law crystals from the dragon-horned mystic turtle. However, Lin Yuan could not stay in the Divine Wood Federation for a long time. He wanted the dragon-horned mystic turtle to become a creation breed within 4 months. He needed to bring the dragon-horned mystic turtle with him to nurture it. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1443. Lin Yuan took out the artifact made from the skin and stomach of the treasure cave golden toad and said to the dragon-horned black tortoise, "Come in." After the dragon-horned black tortoise entered the treasure cave golden cicada artifact, Lin Yuan turned around and left the guest room with Zhou Xian. Ding Qingxua knelt on one knee on the floor of the guest room and clenched his fists in excitement. He felt that everything that had just happened was like a dream. On Lu Jie's side, after Lin Yuan and Ding Qingxua finished talking, in less than half an hour the Sincere E-Caravan's whereabouts were arranged. From now on, the Sincere E-Caravan's members would be completely integrated into the flourishing Chamber of Commerce. As the captain of the Sincere E-Caravan, Mr. Zhao and Li Wan would jointly manage the flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Of course, the decision-maker in charge of the flourishing Chamber of Commerce was Li Wan. Mr. Zhao was more of a supervisor by Li Wan's side. Lin Yuan took the walnut trees that Li Wan had placed in the diamond walnut. Looking at Li Wan, Lin Yuan said, "Nanma City is not far from Oak City. Nanma City is not far from Oak City. Compared to Oak City, Nanma City is a border city that is next to the Iron Hammer Federation. There is currently no Chamber of Commerce in Nanma City. The flourishing Chamber of Commerce can open a branch in Oak City." Li Wan did not think that opening a Chamber of Commerce in a small city like Nanma City would be profitable. If there were, the other chambers of commerce would not have given up on Nanmu City after considering the situation there. However, since Lin Yuan had spoken, Li Wan would do it as her first priority. "I will arrange this matter immediately. Within half a month, the flourishing Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress will be established in Nanmu City." Upon hearing Li Wan's words, Lin Yuan nodded at her. Then Lin Yuan took Lu Jia, Jifeng, Xiao Hua, Xiao Chao, and Zhou Xian out of the flourishing Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress. They rode on Blackie's back and flew toward the underground palace. As they flew, Zhou Xian felt that the surroundings became more and more desolate as the black flood dragon under her feet flew. This made Zhou Xian a little curious as to why Lin Yuan would set up a base in such a desolate place. However, when they arrived at the area covered by the bone lotus, Zhou Xian immediately understood. Lin Yuan wanted to set up a forbidden area at the border of the Divine Wood Continent and the Iron Hammer Federation. Zhou Xian did not know what Lin Yuan planned to do next. However, once this forbidden area was mobilized, it would instantly attract the attention of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. The attention of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation had been drawn over, and the Deep Vendor Federation, which relied on trade for a living, naturally wouldn't stop. It was as if she was sitting in her own palace on the Dark Continent, Lack of Desire Palace. There was also such a large bed made of completely jade-textured red sandalwood in her Lack of Desire Palace's bedroom. However, Zhou Xian did not want to deceive herself. Time had changed and she had eventually become a stray dog that had fled the Dark Continent. Everything she had now was all thanks to Lin Yuan. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I'd already be holding that rusty long dagger and dying in the garbage dump. She would have become a delicacy for insects and scavenging rats, entering the ecological cycle. As Zhou Xian felt sad, she took off her luxurious clothes that were embedded with purple caltrop crystals. She changed into a long purple gown embroidered with albizia flowers. This purple gown embroidered with albizia flowers added a touch of gentleness to Zhou Xian's heroic spirit. She realized that strands of hair kept sliding down her neck and covering her eyes. Zhou Xian took out a hair clip made from the bud of a myth breed sunset face flower. The bud of the sunset face flower was about to bloom, and it was pinned to Su Yiren's dyed black hair. The light weight of the hair caused the bud to spin open, and it bloomed into a dark purple trumpet-shaped flower. The sunset face flower bloomed in the morning and fell in the evening, often withering before it saw the light of day. Such a sunset face flower added a touch of sadness to Su Yiren, who had no extra decorations on her body. It was this sadness that made Su Yiren look like a seductive honey medicine. While Lu Jia was cooking outside the underground palace, Lin Yuan could not wait to return to the spirit lock spatial zone. Just now, Princess' voice rang out in the depths of Lin Yuan's soul. "Master, I have finished absorbing that big turtle's world crystal." Lin Yuan was very curious about what kind of sword skill would appear after Princess absorbed the prism turtle's world crystal. He added a sentence. "It's really not bad. It's worth it." So far Lin Yuan had obtained a total of 6 world crystals. It could be said that the prism turtle's world crystal was the most special one in Lin Yuan's hands. When he reached the spirit lock spatial zone, Lin Yuan summoned the princess. Lin Yuan found that there were no changes to Princess' skirt. However, there were dark raven insignia and giant whale insignia on Princess' chest. A new silver turtle insignia appeared. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1444. After observing the changes in Princess Royal's appearance, Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to investigate. He then used Morbius True Data on the princess to investigate her. Sacred Source Species. Source Species / Sacred Source Species. Sacred Source Species. Origin Family / Sacred Source Species. Sacred Source Star. 3 stars. Sacred Source Type. Main Water / Miscellaneous Support Functions. Frowny Face Princess Form. 1 Princess Royal's Skirt. Extract the willpower rune from dead phase or source type items. Engrave the willpower of the dead fantasy breed phase willpower rune or myth breed law crystal's law rune on Princess Royal's skirt. At the same time, the law crystal that has been extracted will become a law crystal containing pure power of law. Sacred Sword Form. 1 Sacred Sword's Blade. The blade pierces the skirt and consumes the body's spirit chi to release the same type of law and willpower stored in the skirt. Sword Skill Dark Death World Raven Withering Strike. Inject all the power in the Dark Death World into the Holy Sword. The blade of the Holy Sword will split into 28 ravens imbued with the power of Dark Death. The contestant will swing the Holy Sword to strike the 28 ravens 28 times. If the 28 strikes form a combo, each combo will trigger an additional layer of withering effect. Every 14 layers of withering will cause a withering attack on the target. The 56 withering effects formed by 28 perfect combo will cause the target to enter a true withering state. Sword Skill Vast Water World Whale Sea Leap Wave Strike. Inject all the power of the vast water world into the sacred sword, and the sacred sword will obtain the power to control water. The sword skill will be reduced or enhanced according to the current environment and size of the water body. The contractor can brandish the sacred sword to summon a huge whale in the water body. The huge whale will jump out of the water and launch a fierce attack. During the attack, the owner of the sacred sword can decide to summon the huge whale, allowing the huge whale and the huge waves created by the huge whale to freely switch between water and ice. Sword Skill Simulated World Silver Turtle Mirror Strike. Inject all the power of the simulated world into the sacred sword, and the sacred sword will obtain the ability to copy attacks. It can copy other sword skills from the sacred sword and use it against the enemy. The enemy's attack will not be stronger than the Silver Turtle Mirror Strike. During the duration of the sword skill, the wielder can decide when to release the absorbed attack. At a glance, Lin Yuan realized that after the princess absorbed the Prism Tortoise's Law Crystal, his elements were still water element and miscellaneous elements. It was no wonder. There were 2 world creation veins in the realm crystal of the giant ocean whale. There was only 1 world crystal in the prismatic tortoise. The prism tortoise was an earth-type fae. Her small head kept looking at the amber button-shaped diamond fae storage box on Lin Yuan's sleeve. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan immediately knew that the princess was waiting to eat the other 3 world crystals. Lin Yuan thought to himself, the princess is really greedy and can't stop for a moment. Lin Yuan immediately took out the other 3 world crystals from the diamond fae storage box. The remaining 3 world crystals were the wood-type Holy Healing World Crystal in the Holy Healing White Deer's body, the fire-type Scorching Sun World Crystal in the Fierce Sun Dragon Lizard's body, the dark-type shadow-binding world crystal in the shadow-binding mysterious snake's body. Among these 3 law crystals, the Saint Healing World crystal was absorbed by the princess, and Lin Yuan should have obtained a healing-type sword skill. The Scorching Sun World crystal was an elemental power offense-type sword skill. The Shadow-binding World crystal should be a control-type sword skill. Although Lin Yuan did not need to use the sword skill in a short time, he still chose to let the princess absorb the Saint Healing World crystal first. However, Lin Yuan still chose to let the princess absorb the Saint Healing World crystals that he needed the most. It would take the princess 7 days to absorb the world crystal. Fortunately, the princess didn't delay her absorption of the Law Origin crystal while she was absorbing the world crystal. Therefore, with the world crystal to absorb, the princess's star class would only increase faster and faster. After checking the princess's new sword skill, Lin Yuan confirmed the next world crystal for her to absorb. Lin Yuan had more important things to do. That was to let the princess use the Earth Vein golden beads that he had obtained but had not had time to use. He would let the princess use these Earth Vein golden beads to increase the quality of the law world. Lin Yuan took out a total of 15 Earth Vein golden beads that he had collected. Most of these Earth Vein golden beads were absorbed by the Pure Land of Bliss when he helped the Miao family nurture the Emperor-class experts. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1445. Lin Yuan did not show any mercy to the Miao family's Emperor-class experts. The Miao family's Emperor-class Fae had evolved into a creation breed and obtained a creation Earth Vein. He had used Morbius' exclusive skill, Pure Land of Bliss, to absorb them all. The princess had long coveted Lin Yuan's Earth Vein golden bead, but Lin Yuan had not decided which law world he wanted to enhance. That was why the princess had never eaten it. When the princess saw Lin Yuan taking out the Earth Vein golden bead, she stretched out her finger. He gently touched the Earth Vein gold beads on his palm. She was like a little girl who had seen a delicious candy and was begging her father to let her have one. Upon sensing the princess' desire, Lin Yuan said to her, "Don't worry. Princess, take these Earth Vein golden beads and digest them. Do your best to improve the simulation world." The princess's eyes sparkled when she heard that. "Master, when I absorbed the Law Origin crystal previously, I stored all the source-type energy because you didn't ask me to strengthen the laws. Every world creation golden bead will form the embryonic form of a world creation geographical vein when it is integrated into the world of laws. After that, I only need to use the source energy to refine the embryonic form of the world creation Earth Vein, and the embryonic form of the world creation Earth Vein will slowly grow into a complete world creation Earth Vein. Of course, you can also save the source energy and absorb more Earth Vein golden beads. That way you can also form a complete Earth Vein of creation." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan chose the former without hesitation. Compared to the Earth Vein golden bead, it was undoubtedly much easier for him to obtain the Law Origin crystals. Of course, it was not difficult for him to obtain the Earth Vein golden bead. He gave a law crystal to those Fays that had been stuck at the peak of Suzerain X/Myth 3 for several years and had been unable to advance. Those Fays that had been stuck at the pinnacle of Suzerain/Myth 3 for several years had a high chance of breaking through and ushering in the creation tribulation. Among the Radiance Federation's major factions, there were many Pinnacle Emperor-class experts with Pinnacle Myth 3 Fays. Therefore, he could harvest other factions and Earth Vein golden beads like he had harvested the Miao family's leaks. This method of obtaining the Earth Vein golden bead would not incur the hatred of the Earth Vein Fae that had absorbed the creation Fae. Instead, they would be grateful for obtaining these Fays. This was definitely a win-win choice for Lin Yuan. Princess had already chosen 7 Earth Vein golden beads and fused them into Princess Luo Chong's simulated world. The moment the 7 Earth Vein gold beads were absorbed by the princess, Lin Yuan suddenly realized something. 2 abnormally sharp front teeth could be seen protruding from its mouth. Its hairless tail grew long fur and its shape became flat. It looked a little like a mink Fae. It could be said that this purplish-black rat in Lin Yuan's hand was almost comparable to the fattest fat orange in the 100 Questions Beast Legion. Lin Yuan immediately used true data to check this purplish-black rat. With one look, Lin Yuan realized that this purplish-black rat was called a flower branch rat. It wasn't the longevity rat that he had enhanced previously. Lin Yuan immediately reacted. He must have enhanced the flower branch rat twice. Among the two flower branch rats, one had mutated. As for whether the flower branch rat's evolution into a flower branch rat was a normal evolution or the flower branch rat's evolution into a longevity rat was a normal evolution, spread the word. I've been using it recently. Lin Yuan didn't need to think to know that the flower branch rat's normal evolution direction should be a flower branch rat. The longevity rat was a mutation that he had coincidentally encountered by chance. However, any mutation, even if it happened by chance, could be traced. The flower branch rat could mutate into a longevity rat previously, which meant that its body had the mutated longevity rat's gene. However, the amount of this gene was very small, and it was recessive and very difficult to activate. Therefore, as long as Lin Yuan continued to enhance the flower branch rat, it wasn't impossible to coincidentally enhance another longevity rat. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan was prepared to give an order to Zhou Xian before returning to the Radiance Federation. He asked her to arrange for the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce to search for a large number of flower branch rats for him. The longevity rat that the flower branch rat mutated into did not have the ability to attack. However, the flower branch rat that evolved into a flower branch rat was a powerful combat class Fey. It had black and shiny fur and was not small in size, be it in terms of fur or contract. It was a good choice for the Divine Wood Federation's Spirit Chi professionals. 166 Reading Network. Zhou Xian could thank him in person, but she was too embarrassed to say why she wanted to thank him. No matter what, Zhou Xian was a girl. It was too embarrassing to ask Zhou Xian to personally explain why she was thanking him. Upon seeing his inquisitive expression, Zhou Xian immediately knew. Lin Yuan, a prodigy from the Radiance, was essentially a stinking straight man. Zhou Xian hurriedly averted her gaze and pondered for a moment before speaking. Thank you for the bag of law crystals. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan revealed a look of understanding. So Zhou Xian was thanking him for that bag of law origin crystals. Speaking of the bag of law crystals, Lin Yuan happened to have something to tell Zhou Xian. You're an A-rank Spirit Chi professional. You haven't reached S-rank yet, but your phase strength has reached Suzerain/Myth I. This means that you've gone through the role grade. You don't have to use the bag of law origin crystals I gave you sparingly. Spiritual type, soul type, and psychic law crystals are too rare, and such spiritual ingredients are relatively rare. You don't have to wait for the love enchanting poppy to reach Myth II. Let it absorb the law crystals. I have a lot of law crystals here. You can find me again when you're finished. If one day your strength surpasses the 7th Page War, you can take back the Dark Continent by yourself. You don't need anyone's help to take back the Dark Continent by yourself. Upon hearing that, Zhou Xian was shocked and touched. Zhou Xian was shocked that Lin Yuan said that he had a lot of law crystals. Was that something a human would say? Were the 3 Class 5 Creation Masters of the Radiance all working for Lin Yuan? There was only one Class 5 Creation Master working for Lin Yuan. Then Lin Yuan could not have so many law crystals on hand. As for gratitude, it was because Lin Yuan allowed her to use the law crystals at will. Even if the love enchanting poppy was at Myth I, it would be a waste to use the law crystals. Even if her grandmother was still alive, this was all she could do for her. She had issued an allegiance oath to Lin Yuan and established a connection with the Celestial Council's Corona Australis. Under such dual control, Lin Yuan could completely treat himself as a tool to be used. He could squeeze out all her talent. However, Lin Yuan did not do so. This made Zhou Xian, who had no relatives and was alone, feel a sense of belonging to Lin Yuan and the underground palace under her feet. At the same time, Zhou Xian agreed with what Lin Yuan had said. One's own strength was the absolute truth. However, the 7th Page War was not a human but a plant fae. The absolute love poppy's charm ability on plant fays was much weaker than that of humans. Moreover, the 7th Page War had 2 sacred source life forms. At least one of them was a 10-star sacred source life form that could trigger a celestial phenomenon. Moreover, the 7th Page War could kill all of his grandmother's fays within 100 moves. It proved that 7th Page War's strength had definitely reached that level. This made Zhou Xian feel a deep sense of helplessness. At that moment, Zhou Xian heard Lin Yuan continue speaking. If you comprehend a new willpower rune during the process of raising the sacred source life form star rank, I will provide you with bronze/legend love framing poppy. The gap can be closed with hard work. As a gloom envoy, you should know that no matter what, you should never stop running. Upon hearing that, Su Yiren, who had been a little discouraged, clenched her fists tightly. Even if the chances were slim, he still had to try. Otherwise, how could he face his grandmother? How could he be worthy of old he who died to protect him? And the people of the 7 dark states who were currently living in the heat? Su Yiren said softly after a moment of silence. Lin Yuan, I wish to make a trip to Oak City tomorrow. Firstly, I don't have anything to do in this underground palace. After all, this forbidden area hasn't taken shape yet. Secondly, I wish to choose 14 exiled women from the abandoned district of Oak City. Nurture them into 14 millet fruits. In fact, it was very easy for Su Yiren to nurture 14 millet fruits. She could find people anywhere. Su Yiren could even use the relationship between the flourishing Chamber of Commerce and the Ding family to find 14 talented young women. However, Su Yiren did not do so. Chapter 1447. Su Yiren had been redeemed in Oak City's abandoned city district. She had seen light in that abandoned gray world. Therefore, Su Yiren wanted to redeem others in the same place. In addition, the women exiled from the abandoned city district were generally strong-willed. They had tenacity and strength that ordinary women could not compare to. Such women would become the 14 millet fruits and go to the 14 cities to build love houses. On one hand, they would be able to stay true to themselves when facing the temptations of the world. On the other hand, their bitter experiences would let them know that they had to constantly improve their dancing and singing skills. Su Yiren did not care about the appearance of the 14 women that she had chosen in the abandoned city district. The moment the absolute love poppy used its ability to contract them as millet fruits, these women's appearance and aura would change under the absolute love poppy's transformation. They would all become beauties that could charm all living beings. Lin Yuan naturally would not object to Su Yiren's request to search for the 14 millet fruits tomorrow. The distance between the underground palace and Oak City is almost 2,000 li. You don't have a contract with a flying fae, so it's not convenient to go back and forth. I'll prepare a pinnacle diamond snow-necked swan for you tomorrow morning. Although the snow-necked swan doesn't fly as fast as Blackie, it's enough to go back and forth between Oak City and the underground palace. Lin Yuan currently used pure spirit chi to enhance a pinnacle diamond snow-necked swan, and it would take at least half a month. Therefore, Lin Yuan could not personally nurture a pinnacle diamond snow-necked swan. However, Genius and the 100 Questions Beast Legion could. There were many high-quality bronze fays in Lin Yuan's diamond fay storage box. He had caught these fays a few months ago when he went to the Endless Forest for wild harvesting. He had long since enhanced them, but he had not found a suitable home. Among these fays, the most suitable for a flying fae was the snow-necked swan. However, this snow-necked swan was still at bronze/epic. Of course, after handing it over to Genius, this bronze/epic snow-necked swan would become a diamond X/legend existence the next morning. Su Yiren wanted to express her gratitude again, but Lin Yuan stopped her. However, she suddenly remembered that Lin Yuan had asked her why she wanted to thank him. She was afraid that he would ask the same question again after thanking her. As a result, Su Yiren did not even thank him this time. Since he had become Lin Yuan's subordinate, it was better to do things for Lin Yuan than to thank him. As soon as he walked to the entrance of the underground palace, he smelled the alluring barbecue aroma. Upon smelling the aroma of the barbecue, Lin Yuan's stomach instantly growled. Lu Jie roasted a whole platinum black-back mountain boar. It was not easy to nurture a black-back mountain boar to the platinum level. However, the deliciousness of the platinum black-back mountain boar was simply incomparable to the silver and gold black-back mountain boars. The platinum black-back mountain boar that Lu Jie roasted weighed at least 100 kilograms of meat. Lin Yuan and the others simply could not finish it. Lu Jie was currently sprinkling sea salt and black pepper on the golden yellow black-back mountain boar. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao stood beside Lu Jie and stared at the sizzling black-back mountain boar. Xiao Hua was fine, but he kept swallowing his saliva. Xiao Cao's saliva directly flowed out of the corner of her mouth and dripped from her chin onto the white lapel of her clothes. It formed a fist-sized saliva stain on the white lapel. Hu Quan held a brush and kept brushing honey juice on the black-back mountain boar's buttocks. Compared to the petrol black pepper flavor, Hu Quan still preferred the honey flavor. Among the black-back mountain boar's meat, Hu Quan was most interested in the firm back mound meat. Looking at this huge black-back mountain boar, Lin Yuan said to Hu Quan, "Uncle Hu, go and call Hu Tian and those spirit craftsmen over. Uncle Hu, go and call Hu Tian and those spirit craftsmen over. I'll leave half of this black-back mountain boar for them. Everyone has worked hard for so long. Come and have a good meal." Upon hearing that, Hu Quan, who was brushing honey juice on the back mound meat, stood up and said to Lin Yuan with a smile, "Okay. I'll call that group of brats and that Hu Tian who only knows how to slack off at work to come over for a meal." Hu Quan was a boorish person and had never bothered with trifles. Even if he was reading a book, he would never do it behind anyone's back. However, even a boorish person like Hu Quan understood how big the gap between Lin Yuan and those spirit craftsmen was. At that moment, Lin Yuan could think of those ordinary spirit craftsmen and was willing to call them over for a meal. It was enough to see that Lin Yuan was a person who could empathize with his subordinates' hard work. Lin Yuan's entire body was glowing, making it difficult for Hu Quan to shift his gaze away. In less than half an hour, this black-back mountain boar, which weighed more than 100 kilograms, was eaten by everyone until only the bones were left. One of the thighs was being held by Hu Tian, who was gnawing on the tendons attached to the bones with a crunching sound. Hu Quan glared at Hu Tian fiercely. This Hu Tian relied on the fact that he was an emperor-class expert and could circulate spirit qi to speed up the digestion. He ate at least 80 kilograms of meat and went to the toilet 3 times in between. How could someone be so shameless for the sake of eating? Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao had never eaten such a delicacy. Lin Yuan was afraid that Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao would have indigestion, so he specially took out some sweet and sour plums when they were eating the meat. Lin Yuan and the people in the underground palace were happily eating the black-back mountain boar. However, it was currently a cold winter on the Deepwood Federation's side. The Divine Wood Federation's 4 seasons were hot, and the Iron Hammer Federation's further north, the weather got colder. In the central region, the Iron Hammer Federation's weather had already started to snow. However, to the north of the Iron Hammer Federation, the Deepwood Federation was by the sea. It was covered in ice and snow all year round. It was precisely because of this climate that the Deepwood Federation's land was not suitable for growing food. This allowed the people of the Deepwood Federation to embark on the path of establishing merchant associations and caravans. It was also because the Deepwood Federation's spirit qi professionals chose this path that the Deepwood Federation's wealth became the top of the 3 major federations in the Agon continent. Those reclusive noble clans that controlled the Chamber of Commerce were all extremely wealthy. Among them, 4 of the Deepwood Federation's hidden noble families were the most powerful and the most mysterious. Most of the hidden noble families had received funding from these 4 hidden noble families. Of course, the funding from these 4 hidden noble families wasn't free. Most of the Deepwood Federation's hidden noble families had their shares taken by these 4 hidden noble families. These 4 reclusive clans had absolute authority in the Deep Vendor Federation. However, at this moment, the family heads of these 4 hidden noble families were all kneeling in front of a strange bloody ball of flesh. On the throne that was embedded with jewels, the strange ball of flesh that was badly mutilated was trembling slightly. Cold sweat covered the foreheads of the 4 great reclusive clans as they knelt on the ground. Their faces were filled with terror. ABC that you're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.